Bill, you'd spent a couple of days during the week researching something?
Oh, yeah, thank you, Damien.
Oh, he's forgotten his own craft.
I'm worried about this.
Well,
I'm worried.
this article...
Yeah.
This article here come across my desk. Here it is here. I'm not sure if you can see it, Jimmy boy.
I can't see it.
But it says, South Australia's failure to win cricket's Sheffield Shield in almost 30 years is unacceptable to former champions.
Oh.
Yep. To former champions. Do you class yourself a former champion, Jim?
No, I'm a great. So champion above or below.
Yeah, I don't know where that. Great's probably better.
Former great.
So it's a big drought. It's a long drought.
Long drought.
30 years, haven't looked like winning another title
They
there.
made a final.
Yeah, they've made the final since.
Yeah.
But they have been poor.
Yeah, not
Yes,
great.
true.
So I go through this, right, looking at the former champions for comments.
Yep.
Peter McIntyre is the first one up here.
Well, he saved the game. He saw the innings
did.
out.
The word champion and Peter McIntyre should never appear.
What about great?
So, Peter McIntyre says, I use the term unacceptable. You can't go nearly 30 years without winning the Shield, right?
Yes.
Then I read down
Well
Greg
said.
Blewett. Greg Blewett,
Bluey's
of course.
a former
Bluey.
champion.
Look at the photo of Bluey in here.
For us to be so long without winning a title, there's no excuses, really. So that's nice. Well done, Bluey.
well done.
He is a former champion.
Then another one, Shane George says...
George.
Not bloody good enough, says
Yeah.
Georgie. Then Buff Lehman, Jason Gillespie.
Fat boy, big doodle.
They've spoken everyone.
They are
It
champions.
hurts me and the state. We're all losers for 30 years. Then we go to Jamie Siddons. He was in
Great
there.
Jamie Siddons, the captain of that amazing Sheffield Shield win.
Yes. And then another one, Paul Nobes, the open batsman.
No.
Right?
And then Darren Webber had something to
Potsy
say
Webber.
about...
Webber. That's a blast from the past.
Never heard Darren Webber.
No, good man, Potsy.
Formula One
Dick
driver.
Tasler, Carl Rackerman,
They played
Joe
with
Angel.
Queensland, you banana.
Anyway,
Bill, you wouldn't believe it. Peter McIntyre has just rung in.
oh, he has not.
He has.
Oh, what'd you say about him?
Well, I'll tell you what Peter McIntyre said. I use the term unacceptable. You can't go nearly 30 years without winning the Shield. It's alarming. But what we're trying to get at here,
Yes.
there's 10 players there that have been asked as former champions.
Yeah.
And not one, James Brayshaw.
No.
Jim.
So Pete, Peter McIntyre has just rung in. Why would that be the case, Pete? Do you think that when this game is celebrated 30 years later, that Jamie Brayshaw doesn't get a
Yes.
mention? And thank you for joining us here on the Saturday Rub.
Good morning, fellas. There's a good reason for it. It was a lack of contribution, and the amount of pressure that guy always put on the rest of his teammates. First innings. You know the golden rule: don't get run out when batting. James Brayshaw, run out first innings.
Jim.
What I did was made 90 and got
No,
us
you did.
past the follow-on.
was an 80.
If we hadn't
80.
got past the follow-on, we'd have completely lost the game. So comfortably the most important player for South Australia in this game was me.
Hang on. We get
Hang
to the
on.
second innings. We haven't talked about the second innings yet, right? So we get the second innings.
Yep.
He's batting along, and he's got this knack of putting pressure on his teammates.
Yeah, very good at
And he
that.
gets out at the wrong time every bloody time. Anyway.
Made 70
he
in
do?
as many
He tried-
balls and again got us back
rubbish.
into the game and
Rubbish.
nearly got us
Just
over the
before the
line.
new ball maker, was it?
He's
Left
tried this
Maca talk.
massive slog. He's tried this massive sweet slog. Straight up in the air, caught and bowled Brad Hogg. So
Brad Hogg.
here am I, poor little leg spinner, batting at number 10. I've got to come in and bat for an hour.
You have to save the day and save the game.
And win the match for us, and that's the pressure he puts on the other guys. And
I'll tell you
that's a
why.
good reason why he's not.
I'll tell you why he had to bat for an hour. Because you bowled the greatest pile of shit I've ever seen. Let me just run past Maca's game. He bowled 23 overs in the first innings, none for 105. And then he bowled 8 overs in the second innings, none for 20. That's a game high figure of none for 127. He was dismissed for a duck in the first innings
He was.
and made 6 not out there. But
he
the
saved
single
the
worst game of cricket anyone could put together. And by the way, he talks about him batting for an hour.
It's unacceptable.
Shane George also batted for an hour, and he was equally hopeless with the bat. And he never gets mentioned because
you put
Macca
the
brings
pressure on them
himself
by
up
going
all
out,
the
Jim.
time.
The slog
Jim.
sweet.
I've
Jim.
had this conversation with you before, Mac. You know you're on shaky ground.
No, but your memory, James, as usual, like the next day, 5AA, the People's Choice Hero Award. Who was it? Peter
Who was it?
McIntyre.
That's what we all play for, the People's Choice Hero.
Adam Gilchrist hit you for that many sixes. We nearly ran out of balls. They bring that box of 12 balls out. It didn't have any left. That little puddle in Queen's Gardens, they just kept plopping in there.
The third umpire was bringing an empty box.
We had to go with brand newies. In the end, they just said, just bring a new one out. We haven't got any more balls left.
What about that? Gilchrist in the first innings, 189 off 187, 15 fours and 5 sixes.
Yeah, all off Maca.
And Shane
And
George.
guess what, fellas? Guess what? James Brayshaw sitting at first slip with his arms folded, not running one.
No,
No,
it didn't
actually,
chase.
that makes my game even better because I ripped my quad in the game against New South
now
Wales.
he's injured,
So I
Maca.
was on one leg and still performed like a champion.
Incredible.
What are you doing, Maca, by the way?
Yeah, what are you up to,
On a
Maca?
Saturday afternoon.
I'm just at home in a beautiful Adelaide sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. So I've just been in Brisbane doing some work and back in Adelaide actually.
Hey,
So
Peter, I played with Peter at Essendon, by the way. And,
No, you didn't.
in the
He played
seconds,
first
'cause
and
you're out of
you
your
didn't.
seconds.
You
No,
had thirds.
Maca. Tell him, Maca.
yeah, you played a couple of first games.
A couple.
Why was James called Jamie?
I wasn't.
You were so.
No, Jamie Siddons was Jamie.
No, I'm asking Maca.
All right,
Maca.
answer it, Maca.
Jamie, he had several aliases, like it was Jim, James, Bray,
Trunky.
Flog.
Chunky. Dick.
Pretty Boy.
Pretty boy.
Privileged. Tripod.
Silver spoon.
Bluetooth, even though it hadn't been invented yet. Hands-free.
Tic Tac.
There was
Cashew.
several, Maca. You're right. I remember.
two drinks.
I remember them well.
2 drinks. And he couldn't drink back then, would he? He wouldn't be able to drink, I reckon, Maca, back then.
No, I think he was on his Bourbon and Cokes back then, like, something like that. But
Cultured.
We've just about had enough of you, Mac. Unless you got something more entertaining to say to us.
No. 'Cause, Jim,
no,
you're-
thanks for your contribution to the final, James.
The most extraordinary
Did he
contribution.
drop any catches or anything, Mac?
No.
He never drop catches. None of
I
that.
tell you what, Jim, you've never been happy with the Sacca since that bloke, the boss of the Sacca, walked in one day and he said, "Oh, geez, your media career's going all right."
No, what happened was I
take
got
that
offered a
path.
job in breakfast radio, and I'd just come off that season and that Shield final. So I walk in and I said to him, David Johnson, his name, he went and ran Tasmanian cricket. I walked in and I said, Jono, I've just been offered a job and it pays pretty well. Thinking he'd go, you're coming off a 980 run season and we really need you.
Yep.
So he'd sort of maybe up his ante a little to
Yeah.
try and keep the number 5 in the
Yep.
side. So I said, I've got this game in Perth on the weekend, and after that, I'm probably going to have to think about moving on and doing something else. He goes, well, we'll make it a one-way flight to Perth, and
In fact, don't even go to
never
Perth.
once tried to talk me out of it
No.
or say, look, I think you should reconsider.
Best wishes, Jim.
Yeah, that's it. Couldn't have given us stuff.
No.
And then, when that game finished, I've told Fat this before, we sat around the Sacca rooms at the Wacker in a circle, and Jamie Siddons said, righto, everyone just give you your best recollection of playing cricket with Bray. So I'm sitting there feeling like this is pretty bloody stupid. Anyway, so Bluey and Wolf and Dizzy and all the rest of it.
Jamie.
We get to Shane George. He was one of the last ones. He goes, can I have your pads?
A set of pads.
He wanted more pads. Not, look, it's been great playing with you. Or you've been one of Sacca's greats, or,
You won't need these now.
you won't need these
won't.
anymore, so
I'll
I'll want
take
your
them.
pads. All right,
very
shut
good.
up
Very
anyway.
good.
We're getting on. What are we doing next, Hose?
I think we need to
Quiz?
get it out of the way.
No,
Yes.
No, we get it out of the way.
Quiz.
Out of the way.
No.
Fat's on fire.
See, I was
No,
up.
you're not.
I'm talking about myself. I'm up. Now the quiz, I'm back down again.
Oh, no, you'll be up for the quiz.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh,
You will.
Find
You
out.
will be.
All right.